Now, the weather is dire. I'm sure you've seen the forecast and indeed the warnings that are coming with Storm Kathleen, which is going to batter the country. You're being advised that if you're travelling over the weekend to make sure that you plan your journeys and to watch out for fallen trees and the like, and dangerous conditions along the coast with wave overtopping and coastal flooding in some areas, difficult travel conditions, fallen trees, some power outages, coastal flooding, wave overtopping. As I mentioned, that is what Met Éireann is telling us to expect over the course of this weekend. As you heard yesterday, rainfall in March was in places 200% more than normal. Last year rainfall amounts were 50% more than normal. The land is sodden and completely unworkable. Farmers are at their wits' end, and the ICSA is calling now for financial aid for farmers as a result of this terrible weather, raining really since July of last year. Let's speak now to Gavin Carberry, who's the chair of the ICSA Tillage Committee and a farmer in County Louth himself. Good morning to you, Gavin, and thank you indeed for joining us on the programme this morning.
Thanks very much.
It seems a more or less impossible situation for a lot of farmers at the moment.
It is, Michael. On the ground, the situation is quite dire. It's, as you can see yourself, you went into the weather there. It's raining nearly constant since last July. Fodder stocks is very low. Tillage crops can't get into the ground. And we're in now to the 5th or 6th of April. You know, the year's going long. And whatever happens this month is really going to make or break the farming year going forward for this year.
And it's so bad that without financial aid, some people are going to find themselves in right trouble.
Serious trouble. As I say, this is unheard of before, to be raining so long and so persistent. I'm even looking at my own fields this minute, and not putting a light in it. It's a hovercraft you need. You can't get out any machinery. It's all light underfoot. Even if it stopped raining in the morning, it's going to take a number of weeks for the land to dry out that you can actually get in it.
I was just going to ask you, best estimate, if it was to stop raining for the next month, how long would it take for the lands to dry out to a point where you could work them?
Well, that all depends on what type of weather we get. If we get an east wind, the land will dry out very quick. But from a tillage perspective, you're driving around the countryside, there's no fields even ploughed. The land has to dry out before it can be ploughed, and then the ploughing it has to dry out. So realistically, getting crops in the ground, you're looking at least 10 days, before seeds can be put in. And that's going to put a huge, even, the humble potato crop, way behind in that. It's going to lead to some stage of shortages.
Well, you should have potatoes planted by St. Patrick's Day, is that right?
That's right, yes. Yeah. Vast amount of them. We're heading to nearly a month behind with that at the minute, so that's a month less growing. A lot yet. Even if they do go into the ground, there's going to be a lot less yield of them. So it's a real precarious situation at the minute, and it's unprecedented. We never seen this before.
Yeah, and it's affecting all types of farming, isn't it?
It's affecting all types of farming, and a huge thing that's affecting at the minute is the mental health of farmers. Farmers are all banding together and helping each other as much as they can, sharing fodder supplies and fodder stocks. But I mean, when you're looking out at the window and you see, torrential rain every day, and you can't do anything about it, it doesn't really help your mental health. And there's a huge problem with that. In ICSA, we've been contacted the whole time by farmers with this. We've been contacted by the Samaritans and other mental health organisations. That's a lot of phone calls from farmers in this situation. They're looking at fodder running out, the cattle in sheds, slurry building up, can't get into the field to tillage. It's just basically a living nightmare at the moment, maybe to put it.
Right. And that's around the country, everywhere, is it?
That's around the country, yes. That's around the country. Now, usually, the northeast, we escape a lot of this rain when the rain comes from the southwest at least, but this year we seem to be getting a huge amount of it. Dublin Airport, I think, had the highest rainfall in March in a number of years.
200% above the average at the airport and in the Phoenix Park. I can't remember the exact figure, over 200% in both locations, yeah.
So, this isn't just a situation of crying wolf. It's actually happening.
Sure, we know. I mean, all we have to do is walk out in our gardens, which, are no matter how much it rains, it's usually not a problem to walk on your lawn, but it's so sodden now. You come back in with mud in your boots. It's
so sodden, and you see, in all fairness, this is people's livelihoods we're talking about, and each family farm is a family, so there's a huge suffering involved in this, and that's why in the ICSA we're calling for different financial assistance and financial forbearance, to get us over this period. Someday the sun will shine again, and this will all be forgotten about, but we just have to get through this.
Yeah. Well, let's hope it does. I mean, you'd have to assume what we're living through here is some effect of climate warming, as was the case last year when Europe was baked alive. There was no rain, and we saw all the problems that went with that. And we were living under clouds and rain falling out of the sky pretty much every day for the rest of the summer after the hottest June and driest June on record.
Exactly. But look, we have to follow the science in this too. But, there was over the years periods like this before. My own grandfather told me at the time in 1947 it snowed St. Patrick's Day and the snow was still behind the hedges the longest day of the year. So these weather events, they do happen. We don't want to have a knee-jerk reaction. We all agree climate is changing. And farmers are putting their shoulder to the wheel.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate that, and don't want to get into a debate on climate change or what farmers should be doing. I hope that the sun will shine again, as you said a moment, Gavin. There is some good news that inspections are going to be paused for a while.
Inspections are going to be paused for a while, I think, until the 22nd of April. That will avoid a lot of stress at the moment. A lot of calf and sheep lambing going on farms at the minute. Now, I call on all inspections to be stopped, Michael. Still, I think the health and safety are going round. I think the monitoring campaign too in the next week or so, and I'd be calling for that to be postponed, along with the department when it's filed, just because of the mental health, the workload of the farms at the minute.
Yeah.
And farmers can't really do anything about it.
I was just going to say, what are farmers doing? Are they sitting at home looking out their windows? Is there anything that they're able to do?
Well, you see, farming still goes on, Michael, and cows keep calving, and lambs keep lambing, sheep keep lambing, and they have to be fed. But when you're looking at your store and you're dwindling silage or hay supplies, what we're hearing here, the National Fodder and Food Security with the Minister of Agriculture met last week, and I think something like 40% of farmers that time had only 10 days silage left.
Right.
It's a real worrying situation.
And the ICSA is taking issue with Teagasc, because Teagasc has said that there's enough fodder to go around.
Yes, well, what the ICSA is saying with that is the fodder is not in the areas that's needed, that the fodder would maybe happen before had it be transported from surpluses to deficit. And a lot of our members are telling us, with the weather so poor last summer, that a lot of the fodder that is available is of a poor quality. And it's at a high price. We've seen energy costs going through the roof with the Ukraine war. Fertiliser today, I think, is still at 370 or 80 a tonne. Before the war, we were talking around 250, 260. So still, even though it's come back, farmers are still feeling it. You see green diesel there, you see the carbon tax, the excise duty. They're being hammered in all avenues, at the moment.
Yeah.
And as I say, the weather could be the straw now that's going to break the camel's back.
Yeah.
And, we're just saying, what's it going to take for action to happen? Like, is it going to take empty shelves? Does consumers want to see Irish supermarkets stocked with foreign produce?
Yeah.
What's it going to take to get this across the line?
Yeah. Well, you've been told there's no money for you, no money for farmers, but you're saying there just has to be money made available. Is it possible for the state to give aid to farmers, to establish some sort of a hardship fund? I take it that's what you're talking about. Is it possible under European laws, though, to do that?
It is. There is a hardship fund already in the EU. We've seen it before in different sectors. We are more affected than other countries in Europe because we are an island nation, and even to get further in, if I had to come in from abroad, I have to be shipped at a huge cost. We're deficit in supplying grains that all have to be imported too. So we're kind of fighting with our hands behind our back compared to other European farmers. And then also you're seeing, European farmers on the streets just the same. That mood is here in Irish farmer too, with the farming system. But, as I say, there's a huge mental health tally in this, and the ICSA doesn't want to see any casualties. Again, it's over. Like I say, hopefully the sun will shine someday and we'll all be reminiscing about this wet period we've seen and talking about
There's no end in sight, though. Met Éireann only forecasts so far out, but there is no end in sight. This is going to be a particularly wet period over the next 10 days, it seems.
It is. And as I say, as you said earlier, it's raining constantly nearly since July. We might have a few days grace here and there, but, last year, grain harvest was well back. There's potato crops not harvested yet. Farmers can't get in the fields. It's just a living nightmare at the minute. And until the only thing they can fix that at the minute is a bit of financial help to get farmers that even ICSA was calling maybe for livestock farmers to get meal vouchers or something like that to address the fodder situation. And then look at the only other thing they can do is the sun shining in the sky. Okay,
well, let's hope that happens sooner or later. It's a very serious situation that all farmers find themselves in at the moment. Gavin, thank you very much indeed for joining us on the programme today. Gavin Carberry is the chair of the ICSA's Tillage Committee and is a farmer based in County Louth himself.